Welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Today we're going to start our spring seeds. It's one of the most exciting days. I'm going to show you how to start seeds indoors. Well, there's not a lot going on in the garden. The winter garden, we had a big kill off because of a freeze. We managed to save a few brassicas and the leeks did fine, but we've got a lot of open space. And it's time to start planting our spring garden, and we're going to do that by starting our seeds indoors and getting a head start on the season. Now, you can do this a number of different ways. I've been gardening for many years, so I've got equipment that I've built up over the years. I've got some grow lights. I've got some nice options in terms of different seed starting trays, but you don't have to be expensive. You can go and get yourself some cheap Jiffy trays down at Home Depot. I've used those for years, and those come with everything you need to start seeds. Buy your seeds, and you can use a shop light to help your seeds grow. You don't have to have dedicated grow lights. In fact, I have a video showing you how I set up my current system, and I used some LED strip lighting, and in that video it talks about all you need to know about choosing lights. You don't have to start your seeds early. You can start them in the ground, but the seeds I'm starting today, I want them to get an early start so that I'll have the option to get fruit from them before our hot summer kills them off. And that's the benefit of starting seeds indoors. It's cold right now. My seeds won't germinate in the ground. Today I'll be planting pepper seeds and tomato seeds. Well, the peppers require warmth, so we're going to use a heat mat, set that up, and get those peppers up and growing. I like to have them a little bit mature before I put them out into the yard. Now, the peppers will grow through the summer. The tomatoes probably won't. So the sooner I get them in the ground in the spring when the weather's nice, then the more I'm assured to get a harvest from those. And you could do this also if you've got a short growing season. If it gets cold quicker up in the north, you can start your seeds in the wintertime indoors, keep them nice and warm in there, and put them out and beat your short growing season. Well, let's get started. These are the trays that I'm going to use. These are 24 cell hard plastic seed starting trays, and there's two of them in each of these little trays that hold them, keep the water from running everywhere. I got this at Haas Tools. I've used a number of different tray options. I've used the Jiffy trays from Home Depot. I've used trays that are really large. You could drive a truck over them with tons of small cells. I don't remember where I got them. But I like these because this comes as a kit and it has a nice humidity dome and they fit perfectly under my grow lights. So I have 96 cells to plant today, and I need to first fill these with a growing medium. They're a little dirty, so I'll clean them up, but you don't really have to. I mean, that's just growing medium from last year. If you had disease in there, you'd want to clean them up. Most people say you should clean and sterilize your growing cells. I've never done that. I figure that's organic material and it's breaking down. If I did have some sort of a disease or I had some flies or something in my medium the last time I used it, yeah, then I'd go ahead and I'd actually run these through the dishwasher. But I'm just going to fill them. Let's go. What do you need to put in your seed starting tray to get the plants to grow? What kind of medium? You want to get a specific seed starting mix, or you can use compost if it's sifted very fine. You want good contact with the seed and the soil, and something fine like this seed starting potting mix is what you need. Not regular potting mix, not just the dirt from your yard. I guess you could try that. Some people have had success, but I like a good seed starting mix. They're mostly peat moss or cocoa coir. Something fine like that is what you want to use. And it doesn't really matter the brand. It doesn't matter if it has plant food in it like these do. You're going to have them out of that seed starting mix before they really need the plant food. They're going to be self-sustaining for the first 4 to 8 weeks off their cotyledons, those first leaves that come up. They're like an egg yolk to the chicken egg. They have all the nutrition to feed that little plant until the true leaves start to emerge. Then you need to start worrying about feeding them, but by then you're up potting them and you can feed them then. So this stuff though requires you to get it moist. It's dry. Take the big sticks out. So what I have here is a bucket of water. It's about this filled up to there. We're going to put this in and mix it up and squeeze it and get this saturated with water. And I'm going to do 2 bags. I've found with the trays I use that one of these bags will fill up that tray, but 2 trays, but it won't fill up, 3. So I'm going to use 2 bags here, and we might have some left over. Let's get to mixing. I put some gloves on because this is kind of dirty. I might need more water. All right. In we go. I might have to do one at a time. Just get your hands down in there and just start mixing and squeezing, and this stuff will take up, let me get some light on it. This stuff will begin to take up that moisture. Yeah, I'm probably going to need some more water. It's kind of gloopy. You want it moist, but not super muddy. There we go. At one point, this peat starts to break and starts to absorb the moisture more readily. And you don't want something like this. So I'm going to put my other bag in here and see if we can't get this where we need it. It's a beautiful sunny day today, but it's pretty chilly. My hands are kind of cold. All right, this might be a challenge, but we're up to it, aren't we? If you plant your seeds in the dry seed starting mix and then go to water it in later, you're going to find that it just repels the water for a while. It'll eventually start taking it up, but it's better practice, in my opinion, to go ahead and mix your water in beforehand. I think we're getting there. We might not need any more water if I can pull this stuff up off the bottom. All right, that's good. Let's fill our tray. Okay, I'm going to fill my trays outside of this. I don't want a bunch of stuff falling out and getting in the water tray there. All you do is fill your tray and tamp it down, make sure there's no air pockets in there. And when it's wet like that, you can really get it in there and pack it. It is real easy. So we'll fill these trays up, and I'm going to take them inside to actually plant the seeds because I can sit at my table and spread out a bit. Plus it's kind of chilly out here. Take out the big chunks. Sometimes they don't grind this up as good as they could. And so see, anything that's fallen out just goes right into the garden where it can become organic material in my raised bed here. You don't have to fill them all the way to the top, but you want substantial fill on these because you want to make a plug that you can easily pop out. That's why I'm compressing them a bit. I want to be able to pop a plug out when I transplant these seedlings. So make sure you get some soil pretty pressed down in there. Roots are going to find their way through it. You don't have to worry that it's too compressed or anything like that. Not with this fine material. That's one tray. 3 more to go. There's another benefit of doing it this way, starting your own seeds, is you don't have to rely on what they sell you at the store. You know, Bonnie Plants has got great plants. I love Bonnie Plants. I appreciate what they do, and I appreciate how they have regional growing facilities where they grow what grows well in that region. So I appreciate Bonnie Plants, but they only have a handful of varieties of each kind of vegetable, you know. You're not going to be able to plant some of the more interesting varieties or experiment with things that, you know, you can get at the seed store. So I really like growing my own plants and choosing the seeds. You know, that's part of how you pass the time in the winter, right? You get your seed catalogs, or you get online at the seed shops and go through everything and make some plans. I'm going to be growing some tomatoes and peppers because that's what I like to grow. I'm not going to grow any squash this year because the vine borers have been terribly bad over the past couple of years, and I never had success. Vine borers overwinter in the soil And I know they're here, so we're not going to mess with squash this year. We're going to take a break. There we go. But yeah, you can grow the kind of stuff you want to grow. Another benefit of starting seeds like this is you can share your plants. We're going to have more plants than we need. We do every year. You know, pick the best ones and sell the rest to your neighbors or give them away to your friends and family. I often take mine to church and share them with my congregation. And it's a good way to be generous with other folks. We've got our seeds inside. I'm going to plant 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes of each individual variety that I have. Now with tomatoes, you can actually put, you know, a ton of seeds. You could put a whole pack in one of these larger cubes and separate them later. And that way you can grow more varieties in a smaller space. I've done that before and it works. These are my favorite tomato of all time. And I got a fresh batch of seed. It's called Edox. It's a cherry tomato. Got it at Johnny Seeds. Edox, it's an F1 hybrid. That means it is the first generation after the hybridization process, and they grow through my summer. They grow on trellises. They sprawl on the ground. They're indestructible. And they're delicious. Made tomato sauce with them. They're prolific. So I'm just going to take a few seeds and I'm going to stick them in there, like 4 or 5 seeds per hole, maybe a little more, and then just cover them over with a little bit of soil. The rule of thumb with seeds is you plant them twice as deep as they are long. Well, in this case, they're really small seeds. So I'm just going to plant them about 1/8 of an inch deep or so. Edox F1 hybrid. Put some more seeds in there. We can separate them out later. This is a fantastic, fantastic tomato. I have grown these for 2 years now. But that's how easy it is to start seeds, friends. What we'll do is water these in really well and put them under our grow lights, and I'll show you how we're going to set that up as well. So let me put my label in this row so I know what we have. Some of these seeds are on the surface. They'll even sprout on the surface. You'll find the more you start seeds that they will even grow if you drop them down here in the pan. Sometimes they'll grow for you down there. All right, where is my label? There it is, Edox F1. I have my first spring crop planted. I also have the Florida Everglades tomato. This is a very tiny tomato that sprawls. You just let it sprawl. They're like candy. I had some when I went to visit David the Good, and these seeds come from David the Good's property via Karen Hill, a friend of mine online. And I've got some here that I harvested from the tomatoes I got directly off the plant over at David the Good's property. So I'm going to put some of these in, and we're going to see how they do. The first seeds I planted of this variety did not come up, but I'm going to try it. So where's my little stick? There it is. Put these in here. Again, I'm just doing a little hole, just scratching a hole into the surface. These are tiny little seeds too, because it is a tiny little tomato plant, or a tiny little fruit on this tomato plant. Okay, so I have some seeds left over. Make sure I get them in that seed pack. Don't want them falling in here and getting confused. Just cover those seeds over with a little soil. Get in the hole there, dude. And these are planted densely so we can separate them out. I want a bunch of these seeds in here because they're not, they're not tested seeds yet. They've not been sent to me from a company that did a germination test like Johnny Seeds does. You can tell Johnny Seeds does germination tests and tells you it had an 80% success rate on this particular one. So I don't know anything about that one, so I'm going to put a lot of seeds in there to increase my chances. Now, where's my label? I made my labels beforehand, and I can't find the one I need. There it is. All right. I'm going to keep on doing this and get all my seeds planted, and then we'll go up to the grow room and I'll show you where I'm going to put these until they sprout. Okay, here are our seed trays all planted. I'm going to water them in now. I like to use a spray bottle and just give them a mist. Settle that soil around those seeds. Now my battery ran out while I was sowing all these, so I wasn't able to capture some of the exciting, thrilling action of seed starting, but you get the point. Plant these seeds according to the instructions on the back of the seed packet. Most peppers are a quarter of an inch deep, so just gouge out a hole about a quarter of an inch deep and you're done. Put them in there and cover them over. Now here's a tip about some older seeds. I have some seeds from 2021, some older seeds that I actually saved myself. I have some seeds that are questionable as to their germination. On those seeds, plant more than you need. If you just have a few seeds, plant one in each cell. But if you have a lot of seeds and they're older, pile them in there. Put 5 or 6 in each hole, and you can thin later. That'll help ensure that if it's old seed and it's started to go bad in terms of germination rate, you're probably going to get something. So, water it in real well, and then I'm going to put my humidity domes on. Put it on my heat mat under my grow lights, and we'll be off to a good start. Yeah, I like this rather than a watering can when you first put your seeds in, and they're so shallow. I just like to give them a good spray. It's less violent on the soil surface. Yeah. The Hoss Tools seed starting kit comes with this humidity dome that sits right over the top of that. It helps to just keep the humidity inside here nice and constant. You don't want, your lights are going to make the water evaporate away. So we'll put these on, and then I'll move it up a shelf under the lights. These things tend to not fit as well as I'd like them to, but they do slide right up under here on my heat mat. Let me show you that. My heat mat is going to help keep the roots at about 72 degrees, and there is a thermometer probe that I'll put in the soil there, and that will help the heat mat know when to kick on, when to heat up, and what temperature to maintain. So we are now underway. If I can get this in there. There we go. These plants will come up, and the tomatoes might come up in 4 or 5 days. The peppers might take a little longer. Here's my little probe, and I'm going to fish this through the hole in the top. One of these had a hole in the side I could use. Yeah, there it is. But I have to pull it out to do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's pull it out. I made this seed starting station, I guess that's what it's called, and showed you in another video how to do this, how I made this setup. And you don't have to have all this. You don't have to have a heat mat. You don't have to have a probe, but it sure comes in handy. It helps me understand what's going on with the temperatures here, and it helps me get a reliable start to my seeds. But for many years I didn't have that. I started seeds under shop lights in a Jiffy tray, and that works too. Now what you want to do is water these plants, and keep them watered and make sure that they don't dry out. So lift your tray up, feel around, make sure there's moisture in there, and once all your seedlings have come up, you can take these humidity domes off. But then when you take it off, you gotta be very mindful of watering. Check them every single day, because the lights evaporate the water out of the soil, and the plants are getting larger. They're using the water out of the soil and transpiring that into the atmosphere. So once you take these off, you need to be very careful to check and make sure that your plants are irrigated. Currently that soil is about 66 degrees Fahrenheit, and the heating mat here, designed for plants, will bring that up. I set it to 72. Okay, I think that's everything about seed starting. It's so automatic to me. Unfortunately, I do this so much that I may have forgotten something. If I've forgotten a key question that you have, leave me a comment down below. and I'll certainly answer your questions. I read all the comments, and I want to give you what you need to be successful growing seeds on your own and not relying on starts from the store. Hey, if you do need seeds, I've got a great place to get them. Go to seedsforgenerations.com. This is a family-run business. They are ever expanding their line. Their seeds are high-quality seeds. And if you'll use the link below in the description of this video, and you will help support this channel. So thank you so much for all the support you've given me over the years. If we've earned your subscription, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you won't be missing out on videos. As we get into spring, videos are going to ramp up. We got a lot of work to do and a lot of projects. And well, thank you for joining me today. And we'll talk to you next time. Happy gardening to you. Bye-bye.